Good evening, wool gatherers, and welcome to episode 166 of Wanderings and Wool Gathering. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I know we are battling the NFC Championship game with the Niners and the Lions, and as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go up and finish that game, but hopefully you're take a little time out of your schedule and spend it with us, because tonight we are looking at albums from 35 years ago. We're going to take our top 5 and rank them 1 to 5. We are going to look at the new Green Day record. I know it's really popular right now, and a lot of people listen to that. So find out what we think about it, if you care. And doggone it, I am going to stump Metalhead Mundy. It's going to happen, my friend. No, probably not. I'll probably get it on the first one. But we're going to try it anyway. So special thanks tonight to our sponsor, the Kokomo Lantern. This is a journalistic endeavor focused upon the simple principles of illuminating the good and eliminating the shadows in our local community. Head over to kokomolantern.substack.com and sign up for the content. I am your host, Foggy, and joining me tonight is Metalhead Mundy.
Step inside into his mind. It's boy band time. It's
Metalhead Mundy.
And there he is.
Hey, here I am.
Welcome to the Wanderings Cave.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, we are actually right across from each other. I know it looks like we're somewhere else, but this is the Wanderings studios, and just two sides of the same room.
That would be cool, but
sharing the same crappy lighting.
I know there actually is a place in town that has like what they're calling, I think, podcasting studios, but I think I like what we're doing better. So
yeah, me too. Plus, if we were there, you wouldn't get to hear chihuahuas yipping in the background.
That's true. That's true. And you may not hear my wife bleeding in from her Zoom work meeting right now. So, you know.
Ooh, she's Zooming on the weekends, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I kind of even hesitated if we should do this tonight at this time, because there were football games going on, and tomorrow night there are not. But what the heck, we're going to stick to a schedule. I would say that the one time we will be 2 weeks from tonight, when they crown the Super Bowl winner, because we are not going to try to compete with the Super Bowl. Sure. So we'll probably move that ahead a day to a Monday or a Tuesday, depending on what works best for us. So 2 weeks, don't plan on a Sunday evening show. This
is also, I mean, if people watch live, cool. If not, it's there forever. So
you are correct. Forever.
It's cool to have interaction, but you know, whatever.
Well, the good news is throughout the week, I did get some interaction. We had some, I'm going to call them fans of the show. It's my liberty. I'm doing it. Sure. And they at least responded and said what songs from that list or that image that I put out they would choose. So it's kind of fun. Theirs match up a lot with mine. So
okay,
not so much yours, but you'll explain yours in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready to be stumped, my friend?
Sure. Why not? It's a feeling I don't get very often. So
I know, never really. That's a testament, though. And so you're going to see it. It's the first slide that I put up on the screen is going to have the question from the first one. This one may, of all of them, give it away.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look at this. Christina Hilton. I like you guys more than football.
That's very kind of her. I will say she would appreciate a guest spot from your Chihuahuas. So yes. Big dog fan.
And her husband love dogs, and that's one of the many reasons we love them. So thank you, Christina. All right. Are you ready, Mundy?
I am.
Here we go. This band had the greatest selling debut album of all. I knew it. I saw your face. You probably know
debut album. No, I don't have it.
I thought you were like you leaned back like you had it.
Debut album.
Mm-hmm.
I have a guess. I'm gonna say Guns N' Roses.
Son of a bitch! I knew you would get it. That's why I really hesitated to put that one as the first.
Yeah,
because that's kind of one of those. If you know that stat, you know it. So let's look at the rest and see if you knew these.
I did not know that stat. It makes sense though.
Yeah, that one came out of
Never won
nowhere.
a Grammy. That's kind of shocking. Kind of not. I mean,
but
their
something like "Sweet Child of
reputation-
Mine," like
Yeah.
it transcended genres. I thought so.
Yeah.
And then
That's a little
November Rain.
surprising.
Yeah, I didn't put it on here, but they also had the most expensive record recorded ever. I'm guessing it's Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. So, and now this one was a bit of a softball. Maybe lead singer's been arrested over 30 times, defended himself as his own lawyer in court.
The number of arrests is surprising, not shocking. Surprising. I really like defending yourself. That's usually not a good idea.
Oh, very risky.
Most judges do everything they can to dissuade people from doing that.
Yeah, it did not work out so well for Ted Bundy either.
Yeah.
They were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012.
I knew they're in there. I have no idea what year. So,
and then the final one, I believe, it took them 15 years to complete their last album, which was released in 2008.
That probably would have given it away if I didn't know the first one.
Yeah. Dang it, I should have put that at the end.
Yeah.
No, well, what are you going to do?
That was a guess. I mean, it's an educated guess, but it was a guess. And I mean, Appetite for Destruction is, in my opinion, it is definitely, if not the best, it is one of the best debut albums of all time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. One thing I want to do in a show coming up is I want us to choose, and this is probably going to be an upcoming challenge, but the greatest opening tracks off of records.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that would be fun.
That's a tough one.
But there's so many out there.
Yeah.
And, last week I had mentioned my French class because I used Claude Francois for one of my answers.
Yep.
When this came out, one of our friends brought this in, and our French teacher let us listen to Appetite for Destruction class.
Wow.
Oh, she was ahead of her time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it was so good.
Funny.
I know. So, well done. I will be back next week to try to stump him yet again. Now, obviously, I'm not choosing some obscure bands that we don't know because that would not be fair. I'm trying to stick to genres that we like.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. We'll do it again. Are you ready for the challenge?
I am. I think this is an interesting one.
Well, this was mine, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put this up here real fast because on Facebook, on Twitter, I follow this account. It's at Tones of Music, and his name is Chris there above it. But it's a 90s account, and he's always putting up really cool things about 30 years ago, 25 years ago. This one was released, all these kind of things, but they're all in that sweet spot that we love, that, 88 to 98 kind of time period, which had a ton of good music. And so he posted that image. And so when I saw that, I thought, man, that would make for a good one because there were so many good records on it. And it didn't encapsulate everything that came out 35 years ago, clearly, but it had a lot of good ones. Yeah.
Definitely stuff that was, I think, on both of our radars for sure. And I mean, that's, I was in, let's see, so 89, that was, I mean, I was just starting, I was going from 6th grade to 7th grade. So just kind of starting middle school, and my tastes were changing. And then I, going to a new building at school, I met new friends, and that influences what you're listening to. So it was an interesting time for sure.
Yep. And that 89 was my senior year. And so obviously that fall I was in college. So that was eye-opening and brought in a lot of new music to me as well. So good time period for both of us. And the challenge then was to look at this image and come up with your top 5 records. And so that's what we did.
Yep.
I'm going to pull this back up because the next slide is going to show our number 5 records. We did have some people share theirs with us. And we have Anita. She chose hers. Let's get over here so I can take a peek at that. She chose Motley Crue, Aerosmith, Skid Row, The Cult, and Faith No More.
Sure.
And those were 1 through 5. Cortland Funk said Paul's Boutique was his first one. 3FT. What is 3FT? I'm not sure. And then Full Moon Fever by Tom Petty. I'm not sure which one was his favorite out of that, but a couple of great records.
Yep.
We had 9 Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine, The Cult, Skid Row, Motley Crue. And then he added, because there were other ones that came out at that time, Don Henley, The End of Innocence, Stevie Ray Vaughan, In Step, which I absolutely love, Eric Clapton, Journeyman. So thank you for that.
Who was that? I don't think you said who that was.
Oh, that was Mike Shane. Mike Shane. Yeah, he's our soccer coach at school. Good dude.
Okay.
Likes hockey. Dirk Webster of Ruoff. Everybody locally knows Dirk, I think. Paul's Boutique was his number 1. Then Disintegration. Let's see. Pretty Hate Machine, Full Moon Fever, and then the last one was Pixies' Doolittle. This is 1 through 5 order. And then I think the last one that we have on here was from Jason Branch. His number 1 was Pump from Aerosmith. 2 was End of Innocence. Don Henley, he cheated. He really cheated. That was the Raw and the Cooked by Fine Young Cannibals. And then Cosmic Thing, which was on the list, B-52s. And number 5 was Paul's Boutique, Beastie Boys.
Got it.
Thank you guys for playing along. Those are great. Yes, and the extra ones that you guys added in are all good records.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Well, I suppose if T-bags isn't here, somebody had to cheat. So
that's right. We don't have enough cheaters on this show. Well, here we go.
Nice. All right.
So we're going to start. We're going to go 5 to 1. And Metal, yes. Tell us, you did this differently than, well, mine are still the same, but yours were not. So explain how you chose yours.
So the picture that we were choosing these from, you know, I looked at that and I immediately am like, how am I going to pick 5? So I had to somehow figure that out. And basically what I was listening to in 1989 is a little different than looking back with nostalgia. I would say these are my top 5. So my top 5 from that time period and my top 5 now would have been very different. So I chose to go with my 1989 top 5. These are the 5 albums of this bunch that I was listening to the most at that time.
All right. And mine are essentially, they would have been the same then as they are now, I think.
Yeah.
Because they just have held as classics in my mind. So
I will say, I will add the caveat that in 1989, so I'm like 12, 13 years old. This is the time where I was really getting into heavier music. So I was still into like, you know, Guns N' Roses and Ozzy, but I was also into like the hair metal stuff and just kind of all over the place. If it had like a distorted guitar in it, like that's what I was listening to. So, okay. But here we have Paul's Boutique, and License to Ill came out when I was in like 5th grade, I think. So I've been a Beastie Boys fan since the beginning, and this is their second album, and it's absolutely fantastic. Leaps and bounds of improvement from License to Ill to this. It's very, very different. Those 2 albums are very different. And yeah, this is, it's just a classic. So many great songs on here. It's ridiculous.
Yes. It will be on my list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my number 5 was Soundgarden, Louder Than Love. And I will say up front that all 5 of mine were things that I purchased through the BMG and Columbia House Music Club back in school.
Oh, yeah.
And the key is you would get the ones that you want, and then you would just relentlessly send them back, return to sender, until they just canceled your subscription. You never paid for a thing. And then you jump over to the other one and do it there for a while. It was a classic scheme. We all loved it.
Yep. I don't know how they lasted as long as they did, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm sure some people lived up to their end of the bargain, which made them money, but most people I don't think did.
Whew. I
And
know I
you're dealing with college kids too, who I had 3 different addresses when I was there in 4 years, so that made it
There
more
you go.
difficult, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Soundgarden, Louder Than Love, I love this one. This was my introduction to Soundgarden. Hands All Over, Loud Love, amazing songs, and this one was really hard, and I loved it. So that was my number 5.
Yep. This was before I really, I didn't find Soundgarden until, I think they were playing, what would it have been? Oh my gosh, Outshined on like Headbangers Ball and stuff.
Gotcha. Oh, that was a great show. Number 4.
Yes.
Here we go. Excuse me. All right, Mundy, what you got? Number 4.
So Skid Row, their first album came out in 1989. I still love it. I was just listening to it the other day, getting ready for this, and man, I feel like it holds up a lot. I think sometimes they get lumped in with the hair metal thing. I would 100% disagree with that tag for them. I think they're more in the Guns N' Roses camp. They're a little dirtier, a little grimier. And man, Sebastian Bach, I mean, come on, what a voice. Good Lord. And I mean, there aren't really, I don't know that there's any bad songs on this album. There's some that are a little not quite as memorable maybe, but I mean, monster hits on this song, 18 in Life, Youth Gone Wild, I Remember You, and some really great, like kind of lesser known tracks that I love too, like Rattlesnake Shake, Sweet Little Sister, just Piece of Me. Oh, Piece of Me is a great song. Just a really good album, man. Real solid.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely get lumped in just because of the time period and the look.
Yeah. Well, I think, and Sebastian, he was kind of pretty and whatever. So I think they get lumped in a lot.
Yeah. I bet he can sing better now than Vince Neil.
I know he can, because he just put out a new song and it's not terrible and he sounds great. So
yeah, if you haven't done it yet, do yourself a favor, folks, and go to Instagram or somewhere and just type in Vince Neil singing today, and it's everywhere. And people put what the lyrics sound like. It is hilarious because he is absolutely awful. And to think that people pay a lot of money to watch them is really sad. Do not go to a Motley Crue show.
They're playing stadiums.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, somebody has lost it over the years, and it is him. So, all right. So my number 4 was the Cult Sonic Temple. And believe it or not, this was probably the one that sort of catapulted them into superstardom, but that was their 4th record, and it is the least solid record of the bunch. Before that, they had come out with Dreamtime and Love and Electric, and those albums were absolutely just amazing. And I think they were completely different. This is sort of their jump over to mainstream, and you can kind of feel it a little bit, but there's still some great songs. I mean, Firewoman and Edie and Sweet Soul Sister, those are all kind of great songs. But if you have not listened prior to that, you should definitely go back, because those records before that were amazing. And I just noticed when I was going through and compiling my list, I didn't realize, but so originally, I mean, I knew originally they were the Southern Death Cult, then they were the Death Cult, and then they became the Cult. Well, they just in December went back to being apparently Death Cult, and they released 2 songs.
Really?
And I had no idea that they had done that. And so I listened to them today, and they're really pretty good songs. So I'm hoping this is precursor to a record, and whether they call themselves Death Cult or Cult, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But if they can produce a record as good as those 2 songs, I am in.
Wonder why they changed their name.
Yeah, I don't know why they would go back. I mean, it was a simplistic thing back in the day, but I don't know. And we used to sing Firewoman on my dorm floor a lot, and we were all screaming and yelling. I'm sure there were beverages involved, but it was a good memory as well.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. Next up will be album number 3.
Woo! Speaking of Vince Neil, Yeah, man. I was all about Motley Crue at this time, and when this album came out, I mean, it just got in my head, and they were everywhere. This album was huge. This was supposedly the we're clean and we're writing better songs and we're, it's whatever. And man, their videos for God, so many songs on here. I don't even know how many, but at least let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 of 11 songs. So like over half the record had videos, and they were huge. This album sold so much. They were everywhere. And I love it. I still love it. I'm a Crue fan, but yeah, I saw them live twice, and I'm glad I saw them when I did, and we'll leave it at that.
Is this the one where Nikki Sixx actually was the bassist in the recording? Because before they were going over him because he didn't know how to play, and then he learned to play, and then he started actually being the one who was recorded for the records. Is this it?
I don't know that story. I mean, I have heard those rumors, but I honestly don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, everybody loved the Crue back in the late 80s, and they were the fun band. They were the party band, but they sounded great, so good choice. And yes, I would not see them today.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 3 was Pretty Hate Machine, and any Nine Inch Nails fan knows what this is. If you don't like Nine Inch Nails, you should check this out, because I kind of see this as the game changer in industrial music, especially, and just kind of the whole direction of what Trent was doing. This is it. This is the seed album right here where it all started. Most people know Head Like a Hole. There's other great songs on there like Down in It, Terrible Lie. Fantastic record. And at the time, it really was different than anything else out there. I mean, it was a very unique record, and it still, I think, holds up, even though what came after that, I think, was him refining it and putting out great records. But this is a beauty. Great record.
Yeah, I mean, this would definitely be on my list, if not at the top of my list now. I mean, so and yeah, I agree that this album, as good as it is, I feel like it's almost like a blueprint that he then built his career off of. And yeah, I think if you look at the credits in this album, it says Nine Inch Nails is Trent Reznor. So, and obviously he had producers, Flood and, whoever else, but, yeah, he pretty much did everything on this. And then from here, he toured, so he had a live band, and that influenced the sound, I think, a lot more going forward, certainly for the Broken EP, which came next. But yeah, man, there's not enough good words that could apply to this album.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's the blueprint. I think is a good way to say that, because or the foundation, even, because what came after was built on that for sure. Okay, we are up to album number 2. Metalhead, go.
So Pump and the album before it, Permanent Vacation, were absolutely massive. This Permanent Vacation, I think, was a huge comeback for Aerosmith. I think they had been floundering for several years, and they kind of got their shit together and, figured out that what they needed to do to make some good music again. And Permanent Vacation just took over the airwaves, and they continued that momentum with Pump. And I'm going to tell you, both of these albums I had on cassette, and I would put them in the cassette player, put my headphones on, turn my lights out, and just lay there and listen to them front to back. Both albums, just amazing, absolutely amazing. I don't think there's a bad song on Pump, not one. And they do some weird, like, I don't know what you call them, like maybe interstitials or intros that are, kind of weird, but they're interesting and they lead into the song that they're attached to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just massive hits, Love in an Elevator, Janie's Got a Gun, Other Side, What It Takes, massive, massive hits. And this and Permanent Vacation, I mean, I came damn close to wearing these tapes out.
Yeah.
But going forward from Pump, I really didn't stick with Aerosmith that much. So.
I was getting, that's funny because I was getting ready to say I saw the tour. I saw them in concert, and then I don't think I've listened to anything Aerosmith since then.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened, but
when they came out with like Crazy, and I think the album after Pump was maybe Get a Grip, did not care for it, and I was out.
Yeah,
so.
That's so funny you say that. Yeah, same with me. Okay, well, you already had chosen Paul's Boutique, but this is my number 2, and I think kind of like what we just said with Nine Inch Nails, this is the one that sort of steered them the rest of the way because it was different than License to Ill. It was better, and it kind of had that feel of what was to come from them. So many good ones on here: Shake Your Rump, Eggman, Johnny Royale, Hey Lady, Shadrach. There's just like one after the other. This album is pure beastie joy. So
absolutely,
anybody out there hasn't checked out Paul's Boutique, you need to do it now.
Yes. Then the amazing thing about this album, I think, is the sheer number of samples that they used in this. I mean, every song is just loaded, absolutely loaded with samples, which at this time, who knows if they cleared everything. Now I feel like that would be an absolute nightmare because you would have to clear everything. Otherwise you'd get sued. But
well, even more than that, people question the fact of, is it real music if you're sampling? Like there was a whole debate going on at the time, and now everybody kind of understands, it's totally cool to do that. And it's totally acceptable. So, it is. So yes, there's an Aerosmith Rock and Roll Coaster.
Oh yeah. They've had a lot of tie-ins with their music. I remember I know there was a pinball game. I know there was like some kind of arcade game that I feel like might have been a shooter game for some reason. But yeah, they've got their brand out there quite a bit.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for that, Chris. I've never been to Disney World, so I didn't know that. But Aerosmith has a ride there. Very cool. Okay. Drum roll, please. It's back there. Sorry. Number 1. Here we go.
Yep. I figured that would be your number 1. But I went with The Real Thing from Faith No More. And honestly, like, I think I probably listened to Aerosmith's Pump more than this. But once I got my hands on this, I'm sure the Epic video is probably what got my attention first.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what in the world is this? This is weird. It's different. I love it. I got this album and it just absolutely blew me away. I mean, From Out of Nowhere, Epic, Falling to Pieces, Surprise You're Dead. Like, I mean, just on and on and on and on and on. They have an instrumental on here, Woodpecker from Mars, which is amazing. They have a cover. I think on here it's a live cover. It's a live version of, War Pigs from Black Sabbath. I mean, this album just absolutely blew my mind. I had never heard anything like this, and it's so good. The musicianship is amazing. Mike Patton, we've all come to know and love Mike Patton. The dude can literally do anything with his voice. So which I think it was just his birthday, actually.
Yeah, I think I saw some recently too.
Yeah, it was like 56 or something. But anyway, yeah. So wow, The Real Thing, Faith No More, just stupid good.
It's crazy to think that Mike Patton is a household name.
Yeah,
because he is so talented. And this would have been my number 6, and it was really close to the top. I remember being in college, and we all heard that in concert they were singing the Nestle Candy Bar theme song. So it was like we had to go out and find that import so we could hear this. It was so silly.
Well, it's also like once you get into Faith No More, like this is their second album, but it's Mike Patton's first album with them. And then you start to find out about Mr. Bungle, which was never my thing. Bungle was always a little too weird for me. It's just weird to be weird. And JPP has always loved them. But even now, like they're putting out new music. Their last two albums, they've had Scotty in and Dave Lombardo playing with them, which is amazing. So yeah, I mean, Mike Patton, he's still out there doing it, and
they're getting ready to go on tour.
Yes.
So I know JPP will be thrilled. That's the Phoenix Supernova for those of you playing at home.
Yep.
And I'm sure he is stoked, and he'll be going to see them.
Probably.
But yeah, Faith No More, great choice. Great choice. And my number one, as he said, is not a surprise. Here you go. The vinyl for The Cure, Disintegration. And it's interesting because I don't know if people remember when this came out, but there were a lot of people who were not happy with this record. It was very different than a lot of what had come before. It took time for this to build and for people to really understand what was going on and attach to it. And now I think it's pretty much the most beloved Cure record that there is. And I mean, it is just like a hitter from the beginning with Plain Song, Pictures of You, Love Song, Lullaby, Fascination Street. It's just like one after the other hits you.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love this record. And I was fortunate enough to finally get to see them in concert. And it was just a wonderful experience. I'm so glad I got to do that. And so from 35 years ago, our two favorite records are Faith No More and The Cure. Two excellent groups.
Yeah, Disintegration is definitely the one that I hear about the most. I mean, it's got massive hits on it. And this is one that would likely be on my list now, in looking back and what I listen to and what I enjoy now. But at that time, I was not a sad boy, so I was not listening to The
Cure. So what would your top 5 be?
I don't know.
Based on now.
I don't have that graphic in front of me, but let me see if I can find it real quick.
You got the Ramones, Smithereens, the Cult, Skid Row, Chili Peppers.
I mean, there's several that would probably be the same, but so let's see. I would say probably in no particular order, probably Pretty Hate Machine, Faith No More, Paul's Boutique. Ooh, see, this is where it gets like narrowing it down to 5. Honestly, like Pump, I would have to put on there just because I listen to it so much and I still love it. That last spot, it honestly would be a toss up for me between Disintegration and Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever. Because I love both of those. It's narrowing it down to 5 is hard.
And it's interesting that we didn't, and nobody that played along with us picked the Stones, because that was a time period, I think, where the Stones kind of fell off for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think the last one that we reviewed was pretty good.
Is that Steel Wheels?
Yes.
Steel Wheels, I think, was kind of, I want to say they might not have had a record out for a while, but I know they did a massive tour on
We saw them on that tour.
I think that's the one Living Color opened up for him on that tour.
We saw them with Counting Crows.
Okay. Really? In like 1990? Counting Crows, huh?
I think so. I don't think they had another album out after that, did they? I'd have to look and see when that was.
I feel like that's early for Counting Crows.
It could. I thought Counting Crows came out in 89 or 90 with Mr. Jones. I could be totally
I don't
off
think
base.
It was 89. I feel like they were riding that grunge wave a little bit.
Could be.
But
all I know is the Stones were not good in concert for that one. The sound wasn't good, and Counting Crows was better.
Yeah.
Which was really shocking at that, even though I love them.
Yeah, there's several things on here.
Like 93, you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got Mother's Milk from Chili Peppers. I mean, I'm not a huge Chili Peppers fan. They're real hit or miss for me. This one is probably one of the better ones. Smithereens, I only know a few songs. The Ramones are great, but it's the Ramones. They're the Ramones. Bleach from their. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I was close with the Pixies because that's a pretty good record. And the one song that stands out for me, though, is Wave of Mutilation. Other than that, I don't love the entire record, so that's why it dropped for me a little bit.
Yeah, I've never been a huge Pixies fan either. So that Nirvana's Bleach, I didn't know anything about Nirvana until Smells Like Teen Spirit. So yeah, De La Soul, they're cool, but I wasn't listening. Yeah, I wasn't listening to it at that time. That's another one that came later. B-52s, there's some massive hits on that album, but I mean,
I liked him a little bit before that with Rock Lobster.
Yeah. Billy Joel, I think this is the one that had like We Didn't Start the Fire and like what else is on it,
Same.
I don't know. Yeah. My list would be different then and now, but it kind of revolves around the same, 7 to 9 albums.
Yep. I think I'm there too. All right. Well, that brings us to our review, which I think this week is going to be a little shorter than most weeks.
Before we do that,
hit it.
I have a challenge I can issue for next week if you would like me to do that right now.
Oh, I would love it.
So, I had a theme song from a cartoon stuck in my head for no apparent reason. And I mean, for like all day, I'm just humming this song. And it just got me to thinking, like, we love music, and it's not, honestly, now I think it's less of an art form than I would have considered it in years past, but they still do theme songs for shows, but I don't know how many are really iconic now. Which I also think part of that is due to no one is watching the same thing anymore. So
true.
There are so many delivery services to get what you're watching. No one's watching the same thing. So anyway, I want to know theme songs from shows that you loved when you were younger. And I would say, if you want to get into teenage years, fine, but I'm thinking like earlier than that. You know what I mean? Like preteen or childhood, but just theme songs from shows that have stuck with you. You hear it. It's that instant hit of nostalgia and you still love it and you hum them and all that kind of stuff.
All right. That's an awesome challenge. And there it is on the screen for everybody to see.
I don't really care how many you do. I mean, usually we do, 3 to 5, whatever you come up with. It's all good.
Perfect.
And it does not have to be, I said cartoon. That's what I had stuck in my head. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Live action, cartoon, whatever you love that has stuck with you through the years.
Cool. By the way, the 1994 tour I went to was the Voodoo Lounge tour.
Yes.
It made such an impression on me that I forgot the name of it.
Yeah. Steel Wheels was massive. I mean, they were playing like football stadiums. It was massive.
Well, I saw them at the Hoosier Dome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. So theme songs from shows that we loved when we were younger. Make sure it's all from your childhood. Don't go sneaking and cheating, T-bags, if you listen to this. All right. Well, it is time. And it is time to review Green Day Saviors, the new record from Green Day. And I just don't have a lot to say. I hate to say that, but I don't know that I've heard a more bland simplistic record in a long time.
So I listened to WTF with Mark Maron.
Mm-hmm.
I have since the beginning. I mean, it's been like 14 plus years. I don't even know now, but he had Billy Joe Armstrong on, which Billy Joe's kind of a notoriously difficult interview. They connected over the living in the Bay Area early in the conversation, which I think kind of loosened him up. It was a great interview.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who is a Green Day fan should go listen to that. It was fantastic. That conversation kind of got me excited for this. And I was glad when you said you wanted to cover it. Then I listened to it. And actually, before I listened to it, I looked on YouTube to see if they had any videos, and they have several. Mm-hmm. And I think most of the videos, are probably in like the front half of this record.
That would make sense.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I think the first 6 songs of this record are fantastic. I enjoyed all of them. After that, it like falls off a cliff for the next 9 songs. Mm-hmm. So, and it's not, I don't mean that it's terrible. It's
terrible.
I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's mediocre. It sounds like Green Day. I don't think they did anything crazy to change anything up, but it's just mediocre at best. The first 6 songs I really, really enjoyed. After that, I don't care. I did not care.
Yeah, and maybe it. Sometimes thinking about a group that's supposed to be like pop punk or whatever, you think about this. I don't know that this could be any less punky. It is so simplistic. There's no anger. There's no, like, the American Dream is killing me. Mm-hmm. Should be a biting satirical commentary. And I feel like the lyrics are vanilla. Like, Al Jorgensen is killing it with biting lyrics, and calling people out and making a point. It almost seems like they have just toned it down so much that they have just almost gone completely pop. The bass, which you got a 3-piece band here. You're supposed to be punk. The bass almost gets lost in a lot of songs, which you would hope you'd have this awesome bass groove just driving it.
I mean, yeah, Mike Dirnt is great. I mean, and honestly, a lot of punk bass players are standouts. Just, I think they play so hard, and they usually are able to get such a great tone. And yeah, I would agree with you. I think he's in there, but I think, I agree with what you're saying.
And it's not that it's unlistenable. Mm-hmm. It's almost too listenable.
That's why I said it's just like mediocre. It's just middle of the road.
It doesn't challenge us in any way. It doesn't make us think about anything. I mean, the song "One-Eyed Bastard" is a clever renaming of male genitalia. Like, okay, that's, I thought, okay, this is about a revenge thing, but then it's bada boom, bada bing, and I'm like, okay, so we're trying to harness the old gangster vibe. But
I don't know. I think, honestly, though, if you think about it, I think that those lyrics work with that song because you're kind of talking about masculinity and what's more, masculine, toxic, or otherwise than an Italian gangster. Hey, oh, bada boom, bada bing, like, I don't know. I that's how I took that, is it's just like over the top masculinity.
Okay. It wasn't delivered that way. So that's why it's just, everything's too clean and neat. I wish there was something that was just had a different angle or some anger or some real, I don't know.
I just feel like that's Green Day.
And it probably is. And that's probably not fair of me to try to lump them in. But if you're going to have that vibe, it seems like you should have that that punch to it. And I will say, like, the song "Father to a Son," it was a sweet song. Yeah, you're a lighthouse in a storm from the day that you were born. This kind of, he said it was a sequel to "Wake Me Up When September Ends." Sweet song. I have no problem with that. Saviors with the penultimate song, looking for a savior to save the world kind of thing. That's okay.
Like living in the 20s. Obviously he's talking about the 2020s. Some of the lyrics in that I thought were, not, I don't think they were incredibly innovative, but they were certainly spot on. It's just kind of scathing rhetoric of, dumb stuff that's happening in the 2020s.
Yeah, I don't know. Corvette Summer, when I heard that first, I thought Mark Hamill, from his old movie. But
the song Dilemma, I think, is probably overall the best song. And it's not because it's, like some aggro punk song. It's not. It's a very good rock song. And this one, what made me like this even more was I saw a clip. Well, actually, he talked about it a little bit on Marin, but I also saw a clip of them on Stern recently. And Billy Joe was talking about this song. He actually wrote this. He was sober for like 5 years and then kind of fell off the wagon. And he wrote this song while he was off the wagon. Like, he was drinking when he wrote this song. It's not looking back at things through a sober lens. He's like, this is the most honest song that I've ever written, because I wrote this song with these lyrics. Basically, he's talking about, how bad of a person he is, and he's doing this when he should be doing this. But he was writing this song in the midst of drinking, being drunk. And so I don't know. I think that kind of made that one mean a little more to me. Bobby Socks, I think, is a fun song. I think that's kind of an interesting one. Also, that one, you should watch the video. I don't know. I think the mixture of the lyrics and the video are better at illustrating just the song, because I think the song might be a little confusing, because he's saying, do you want to be my girlfriend? Do you want to be my boyfriend?
Right.
But I mean, you can extrapolate from that. I think that obviously there's some LGBTQ plus stuff going on there, but it's not that he is that in any way, but it's basically from everyone's standpoint. And I think the song kind of means like everybody is everybody, like it doesn't matter, So, and I think the video illustrates that a little bit more. Look Ma No Brains, fun, super fun video. It's a zombie video. It's pretty cool. But that's
probably the song that sounds the best to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that one.
Yeah. And I like The American Dream Is Killing Me. I don't think it is not an American Idiot level.
No, not even close.
But I enjoyed it. And I think that's more like, they didn't really do political stuff at all until American Idiot.
Right.
And so, it's cool for me to see that he's still, kind of has that stuff on his mind. And, so they didn't just use it for a couple of albums and then bail on it. So
I would say that The American Dream is a good album starter.
Yes.
Or an album by them. Even though I don't love what they're doing, that was probably the best song that they had for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Super front loaded for me. This one, it's not a slump in the middle. It literally just fell off a cliff for me. It's just average Green Day, nothing new, nothing crazy, nothing great after the song 1981, which I liked a lot.
But that, for me, that's a problem with the record. It's like, there's nothing great, nothing bad. It's just, and I like something that's going to challenge me and make me come back. It's like, we did Sleep Token last year, and I went back and forth a million times, and I couldn't understand why. I kept working with this record, but it drew me in. There was something there that was so different and interesting, and it is like the anti this record. And if you love Green Day, you're probably going to love this record, and you're going to eat it up, and you're going to be excited about it, and you're going to go see them in concert and all that. But for me, it was just bland and just didn't have it. I don't know. I
agree.
So if I'm going to score this record, and I am,
I'm
hold on. Give it. Oh, sorry. You got more?
Before we do that.
Oh, yes.
I wanted to touch on, there's a little bit of a controversy with at least this one song, the song One-Eyed Bastard, the riff at the beginning that they repeat several times throughout the song. I mean, people are coming out of the woodwork and be like, oh my God, they ripped off Pink. And that riff sounds, I don't like, I mean, it is spot on.
What's the song by Pink?
So What? And it is, she actually hums. She's like da 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 da. But in the Green Day song, it's a guitar riff. But in Pink's song, she's like kind of singing that melody. I swear it's exactly the same. So I don't know if that was intentional, but oh man, they are right there. And there was one dude that I saw that said, in that same song, maybe the chorus was real similar to an Offspring song, which he kind of played them both. And I was like, yeah, I mean, kind of. But then he said there was another song, and I didn't write this down. I don't remember which one. He said there was another song where he kind of ripped off a melody from a Nelly song as well.
Yes, I just looked it up real fast while you're doing that so people can go find these. Yeah, it says Green Day copied Pink, The Offspring, and Nelly. And then there are some where they're putting them next to each other. You can look at One-Eyed Bastard versus Pink, So What? So if you want to check that out, go check out the controversy, and you can see it on YouTube, which is nice. It'll lay it out for you.
Yes. So, rating. Go ahead.
I'm going to be generous and say a 2 because...
Wow.
Well, it sounds like Green Day. I mean, so if you're looking for a Green Day record, it sounds like Green Day. I just don't enjoy. I liked American Idiot. I just feel like this is not even close. There's just something lacking here. Maybe it's just getting older and losing an edge, or maybe it's me. Maybe I've changed and I don't enjoy Green Day like I used to. But I did not enjoy this record. I will not listen again. So 2 out of 5.
Yeah. So after that first, about the first third of the record, I lost interest completely. So I don't know what kind of rating I would give to a third of a record, but I'm probably around the same, like 2.5. It just, it was rough.
Yep. All right. Well, you're not going to get a ringing endorsement from us, but I am seeing that people are enjoying the record. So if you're a Green Day fan, don't listen to us. Go listen to it and enjoy it, and tell us to F off. So we may not be the audience.
You don't have to do that, but
but if you want to, you can. We don't care.
You can like the record and not be mean to us. That's okay too.
But you might be more satisfied if you are.
Seems that way.
That's the way we do it now. You got to let everybody know how dissatisfied you are with them.
Yep.
So, okay. Well, that pretty much wraps up all of our activity for episode 166. Next week, we do have a challenge. Thank you, Mr. Mundy, on popping one of those out really fast. Theme songs from shows that we loved when we were younger. And do we have a record for next week?
That I don't have.
Dang it. You have one job, right? One.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll find something to do. And if not, I will go to Chris at Tones of Music and see what he's got cooking on Twitter. See if there's something we can do, historically speaking. But who knows? All right, Mundy. If anybody was trying to find you, where would they find you?
Oh, Instagram. It's my handle on the show at Metalhead Mundy, Mundy.
Why? Because we like you.
Why? Because I post pictures of my cat. So.
That's right. Oh, all right. I'm Foggy. You can find me at Instagram and Twitter. And you can find Wanderings and Wool Gathering on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, no longer Stitcher, no longer SoundCloud. Find the album, movie, TV, and comics reviews at wanderingsandwoolgathering.com. We should be posting tomorrow Superior Spider-Man #3, if anybody's reading that. Oh, we got to thank you real fast. So your senior year, is that my senior year too?
89, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Chris, where'd you go to school?
We're just going to wait for
We're just going to wait. It's going to be dead air while we wait for Christina to answer. Oh, yeah. We decided we can't do the Jeopardy theme song or we'll get booted off.
Oh, that's funny.
She was a Western. Actually, Western doesn't do a good job with their people. She's a Western Panther. So, that's why I don't know her. She went to Western.
Western.
I was hoping she didn't say Kokomo. And I'm like, crap, she was in my class and I didn't even know her. Which is possible because we had 600 kids, so I didn't know everybody. But all right. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in this week. Thank you, Christina, for playing along. And we will see you next week for that fun challenge and some music. Later.
All right.